So there's so much that doesn't make any sense with regard to this whole Epstein debacle. If Trump is guilty and on this list, then why did he campaign for the release of this list? Why was this big spectacle in the beginning of his administration when Pam Bondi was, talking about, oh, it's on my desk, I'm going to release this within a week. There's so many things that don't add up. You got the Democrats and you got this Hollywood character that is involved in this stuff saying, oh yeah, let's release the list now. The Democrats, I don't think would have done that some years ago, but now all of a sudden they want to release the list. There was a interview during Trump's campaign where they talked about, yeah, he'll release the JFK files, he'll release, I think, something on 9/11, and he'll release Epstein files, but then there was a little caveat. He says, well, we got to protect the victims, but they cut that part out. They edited that part of the interview out. So, it's just, there's a lot of speculation. And his behavior, he's acting guilty as hell through all this. If you wanted to cover this up, let's just assume that he's guilty. If you wanted to cover this up, what you should have done is you should have, after raiding the Southern District of New York's FBI office and took those files from Maureen Comey and this other agent, which again escaped my mind. They should have said that this is part of an ongoing investigation. They should have said, well, the evidence has been tampered with, which it probably was, and I'll get to that in a minute. And there's other ways that this could have been dealt with. So regardless if Trump's guilty or not, it's definitely stupidity and incompetence at work here for sure. The fact that the Democrats and some of these elitists that are involved in this stuff, it just Kevin Spacey, that's the actor's name. Yeah, Kevin Spacey came out and said, oh yeah, let's release the files. Yeah, like he's the one to say anything about that. But anyway, that in itself is very, very suspicious. Very suspicious. Perhaps, and this theory has been floating around, I think this is Alex Jones's take, is that perhaps the evidence has been tampered with so that the Democrats and the donors of the Democrats, those names and that evidence has been scrubbed out of there, and they kept the evidence of perhaps this is a Mossad operation, perhaps this is Trump's donors are on that list, that he can't expose that. Perhaps he was on that island. That's a very good possibility as well. And by the way, there's evidence that suggests that as well. So this whole thing it's suspicious as hell, but it's also really stupid and incompetent too. If you're going to cover this up, this is not the way to do it. This is shining a lot of light on the subject, which brings me to my next point. Trump's behavior has been unusual at some point. I think it was after the first 100 days of his presidency. And then after that, he's been really going off the rails. And people have suggested that there are people in his administration, just like it was in the first term, people in his administration that don't have the best of intentions and are dishonest about who they are, that perhaps they have an influence on him. But I don't think it's that. I suspect that this is a Mossad operation. And I think what's going on is maybe Trump didn't do what Mossad wants him to do. And now this is the backlash. This is something that they're doing in retaliation. Maybe they wanted the United States to go into full-scale war with Iran. That's what I have. I have speculation. And unfortunately, we're not going to know the whole truth. We won't. If I were Trump, I would just come out and say it's an ongoing investigation. What I do know is the evidence has been tampered with. Okay? And that would have saved face much better than saying, I don't need the supporters that fall, these people are weak people that fall for the Epstein thing. his response is just not smart at all. I mean, politically, it's really stupid. And like I said, for the Democrats to want to release this is very, very suspicious because I know that they are not innocent either. So this whole thing is really strange, like really, really strange. The damage control that they're doing with Dan Bongino and forming his little independent investigation and supposedly maybe a special counsel, like a someone that is going to focus on this, like what is it, a special, the name escapes me, but anyway, that's just damage control. It doesn't, it'll reverse some of the damage politically, but I don't think so. I think that this has really hurt Trump's, really hurt his popularity big time. Despite, he's done a lot of great things, but this does not look good. And unfortunately, I can only offer you speculation.